Test, test. will go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, motion by Caleb.
Second.
Second by Josh. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Yeah, I've already checked it.
Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from May 11th. Any questions, comments, changes? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve those.
Also moved as presented.
Motion by Josh,
Second.
second by Chad. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Approval of the treasurer's report. Any questions, comments?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Allison.
No.
Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh. I did. I looked right at her and said, motion by Kayla.
Second.
Second by Josh. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next item is approval of the invoices. Is there anything you would like to call out, Mr. Murphy?
Yeah, so we have a few items on there I do want to visit with you guys about. We do have our fire alarm modular blueprints that are on there. That kind of goes also with agenda item number 16 that we'll talk about here in a later. Those two kind of connect, so I just want to draw your attention to that. That was $8,780. We did have our dirt work for the modular that came in a little over $12,000, and then the drainage between the school and the play area that came in a little under $12,000 at the Central Plains Elementary School. We have our two items for our technology rotation. One was $13,105 and the other was $22,456. Sped flow through this month was $107,980. And we're just moving forward trying to get curriculum and items purchased for next year to try to put us 1 year ahead on trying to get those items with this year's budget instead of next year's budget. So you see quite a few items on there with curriculum purchasing and renewals going into next year from this year. So those were some of the big ones.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the invoices as presented.
Also moved.
Motion by Josh, second by Dalton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And now the reconciliation and cash balances report, and that is up there for you to review. Any questions, comments regarding that? Okay. And now we'll have recognition of visitors. And just a reminder, you will have 5-minute time limit. And typically this is not a back and forth conversation. We will address anything further that needs to be in the items. Susan Sebesta.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight regarding any land transfer that you may be considering. My name is Susan Kerr Sebesta. I'm a resident of Ellsworth County for nearly 28 years. You see, I married a Kansas wheat farmer, and he has lived at that address on our family farm north of Wilson for his entire life. Our children are the 4th generation of Sebestas to reside at that residence. We respectfully ask that any land transfer prioritize keeping tax dollars local to Ellsworth County, specifically the USD 327 school district. We have been pleased with the education our children received at the USD 327 school district, and as a result, we want to support that local Ellsworth County school district and the communities that it serves with the transfer of our land holdings. We would appreciate your consideration of this request when a land transfer is under review. Thank you very much.
Jeff Keith.
I'm Jeff Keith, as most of you know. I'm in favor of I'm on the opposite side of that because I've got kids that have went to the 299 school district. We've got also multiple other kids that are going to the 299 district. And we've got others with the grade school closing that are going to the 299 district. So I am more in favor of the land transfer going to Sylvan Lucas to consider or to continue with that bond that we've gotten with the two districts going on already. I also coming to you guys, I'm mayor of Wilson and everything like that. I've been working with trying to find a way to keep the daycare open, or to reopen the daycare and stuff like that. I just found a possible 2 entities tonight, like right before the meeting, that I'm going to try to apply for some grants through to get the funding for that. I would like you guys to be entertaining that and be open for discussion with that going forward, because I feel that we really need daycare providers in the small communities and everything like that. I think that is critical for us going forward. My third note is our rec department is asking for the facility use, which will be addressed again later with Mr. Murphy's superintendent report. Him and I have a good relationship. I think that'll go over well between him and I, communicating back and forth. With the rec department, we were curious about, there are 2 stainless steel tables with wheels on them. I would be interested to see if you guys would be willing to, if you don't have a need for them, if the rec department could look at getting those to help our concession stand out at the baseball fields and stuff like that, with those 2 stainless steel tables going forward and everything like that. I get that you're not going to answer tonight. You might answer later and have discussion and everything like that. Just some food for thought on some of those things that the rec can use for the betterment of our kids in the community also. I think that's everything. With the daycare thing, the big thing would come down to utilities also. I would have to start trying to figure out how that would work also, if that makes sense. And I've been in contact with Mr. Murphy over that, on and off, going with things. We were looking at staffing. The only thing we didn't have was possible utilities and how that would work. But that could be conversations for coming forward through emails, through me coming again and everything like that. But that's one thing. I don't like blindsiding people. So that's one thing I'm trying to figure out for the betterment of Wilson is daycare provider, if that makes sense, in that, with it already being set up as such. I think that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, administrative reports.
We wrapped up our school year with play day and a cookout. It was very nicely planned by our PTO members, as well as Mrs. Katie Ryan. We had some high school graduates come back to help with that, along with some parents. That's nice for them to come back and help with that. There's no other way we could do it without all that support. Since school's been dismissed, Brent and Larry have been working really hard to clean the classrooms. We've been doing a lot of movement. Kayleen and I have been going around picking up the tail end of them, trying to get everything moved to the next room. They have a really good start on it, but we have a long ways to go. Our modular building sitting in the parking lot. It's all in little sections. We've had lots of people drive through the parking lot, stop, look. So it's sparked some conversations along the way. Right now, we have the summer lunch program kids come, and a lot of times they'll sit out in the parking lot, or they have been known to come and sit in the parking lot and eat their lunch so they can watch everything going on. That's kind of fun to watch that. We have, I think, 18 kids that end up signing up for summer school. It'll be held July 6th and 17th. And then our building is just really, really quiet right now. Kayleen and I are working to get all the end of the year tasks buttoned up here, and then we're also looking also towards next year. So it's kind of crazy. Any questions? Thank you.
We also had a good start, or a good end to our year. Side note, everybody that started with us graduated with us, which is great. There's a little touch and go there for a little bit, but no, just kidding. We do have a couple new students who are going to be coming to us next year. We have 2 new out-of-district students who will be joining us so far that we know about. We had a great end to our athletics, tennis and track. I listed their placings there for you to kind of look at. They did a great job. Our tennis team, actually, I didn't put that on there, took 2nd overall, which is incredible. If you know anything about tennis and all the private schools, and the way tennis works is they actually compete 1, 2, and 3A all together. So for us to be 2nd overall is an incredible feat. So I'm really proud of those kiddos. Pat and I went to the CPL League meeting last week. They did vote as a league to increase the ticket prices for all high school contests, so volleyball, football, and basketball games, to $6 for adults and $4 for students. So the league sets those prices, but we do take that gate. We keep that gate. And then for for junior high tournaments, they'll increase the price to $5 for adults and $3 for students. Side note on that, the CPL tournament for basketball lost quite a bit of money for the league, so they're trying to look at ways to not be losing money every time we host that. And we're hosting this year, so I'm glad we're doing all the things in the gym. It's going to be pretty cool. We'll have all the new stuff, but we will have a very large tournament here with lots of people. So we will host that with Otis Weissman as our team school. They will host the opening round games, the play-in games, and then they'll also host the, that would be the 7th and 8th place, 9th and 10th place games at their location, and then we'll host everything else here in Bushton. If you came in the front doors, I don't know if they were still there, but the shot clocks are in. They're sitting in the hallway. They seem so large compared to when they're up in the sky. They don't seem so big, but that's kind of my answer. Thanks.
Okay. Item number 9, our out-of-state travel request.
Okay, so we uploaded the FFA itinerary for their out-of-state request. They'd like to go to Branson, Missouri for their kind of scheduling event where they schedule everything for the next year. So that item is on there for you guys to look at. Everything budgetary comes out of their FFA account, so kind of nothing really budget-wise that's going to affect us on the district side. So that's on there for you guys to look at, and I would recommend moving forward with this. Gives them time to plan, and also some team building going on and to start the year off as well. So.
Is that just one person?
That's just Courtney Chamber. She's our FFA sponsor. Yeah. Sorry, Barron. It's Barron now.
Is their officer?
Their officer retreat.
Their officer group, so there's what, 5 of them?
Yeah, there's not.
5 or 6 kids?
Yeah, just a few.
I'll make the motion to approve the FFA trip to Branson, Missouri. I'll second.
Motion by Chad, second by Josh. Any further questions, comments, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 10, the KASB policy updates.
Okay, so these are the 2 policy updates that we gave you guys for the first read last month. It's in coordination with House Bill 2299. Specifically, one part of this bill provides restrictions regarding social media use for school districts. No employee of a school district shall privately or directly communicate with any student through a social media platform, except as expressly permitted under board policy. Use of board-approved social media platforms is acceptable, so we would be able to do that for official school purposes. No employee shall also require that a student uses a social media platform for any assignment or extracurricular activities as well. So that's part of House Bill 2299. The other part of House Bill 2299 is students are prohibited from using or accessing personal communication devices during the school day while on district-owned or operated property, except as permitted by policy or law. All devices must be powered off and securely stored away from from a student in an inaccessible location during the school day unless an exception applies. This bill will actually become law in publication in the statute books on July 1st. So whenever you guys look at the first reads for the handbooks for next year, it does have a policy in there that goes along with this part of it. We are still working on the social media platform a little bit. We have a couple of items with Aptigee, that's our school website, that could maybe give us a little bit of a leg up on that if we decide to go that way, but we're still talking about what we think is best for each individual building as far as that goes. So I would recommend moving forward with these two KASB policies, and we will have a more complete plan, especially with the first part of that going into the start of the school year at the next board meeting. So.
Any questions? I would entertain a motion to approve the policy updates as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Josh, second by Chad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Item number 11, the food service director authorized representative.
Okay, so Nicole has been serving in this position with hiring Carla moving forward. She's doing a fantastic job. We would just like to go ahead and move over. We need a board approval to move over and have Carla be the representative for the district for food service. So we would recommend moving forward with that recommendation for your guys' approval.
Okay, motion by Dalton. Second by Chad. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Abstain.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0-1. Item number 12, the first read of the handbooks.
Okay, so we like to give this to you guys for you guys to look over and have some time to look these over. So I kind of went over in the notes. Virtual handbook is just staff and address changes. Faculty and classified handbook, we needed to add the Family Medical Leave Act. So those are on there for you guys to look over. And then we also have the Central Plains handbook, find attached there, the changes for that one, and then also the high school and middle school handbook as well. No motion necessary on this. We just wanted to give you guys time to have that in front of you to look that over. So
Just further reading over it, I guess if there are any initial questions right now, but we'll have further discussion.
we'll go over some of them in more detail. We just want to give you guys a chance to read them. So.
Can I just kind of go over how mine is kind of set up so you guys know? So I didn't put the whole handbook on there. I just put in pink the heading. And then in yellow is what I'd like to take out, and then blue is what I'd like to put in. So and a lot of them are not really things that are changing. It's like, especially on the NCAA requirements and the Kansas Board of Regents like some of it's just updating information from the state just into the handbook. But my blue are what I'd like to put in.
So the grade school one, I put our handbook on there, and then all the changes I just highlighted in one color. I did a strikeout, all the ones that we were going to take out and change, and put the one we wanted to change below it. We did add a few things, mainly some of the things that were already in the high school handbook. And then, but then we made some changes. I know our nurse wanted to make things more specific as far as when kids would need to go home or stay home during that time if they had certain illnesses. as well as Jamie wanted to make a few rule changes for the bus. So they're all in there. You can kind of see where I made the changes on that.
Thank you. Okay, item number 13, the junior high football volleyball.
Okay, so, sorry, wanted to visit with you guys about a little complication. So right now, I think everything's going good on the football side, but one complication we have is when we play at home on those Thursday nights, if we play a team that has a C-team girls game, they're not getting to play right now because Chase's volleyball team comes over and they play the other team during that time. So I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say we play lacrosse, right, and they have a C-team girls volleyball. We play the A-team games, the B-team games. Instead of a C-team game, it was Chase's A-team girls against lacrosse's A-team girls, which means our C-team girls might not get to play if they have enough to play a C-team. So Ms. Murphy and Mr. Stiles visited a little bit. What they would like to do is try to move those C-team games up earlier maybe in the day, so we can try to play those games and they still get to play and see how it works for the next year. Ultimately, what we don't want to do is at this point cut Chase off and them not have a schedule or anything. This would give them time, if it does not work very well, for them to kind of go back to the league in the drawing board and figure out what they're going to do besides just chopping it off right now. So they're kind of aware of the situation. Ms. Murphy, how many football boys do you remember?
I think he said 4 to 6.
4 to 6. So that's what they were kind of
And they've
anticipating.
had 5 to 6 volleyball players right now.
Okay.
So
So I just wanted.
last year, however, they started with 6 or 7, and I mean, it was down to 3, I think, football players.
So we don't want to recommend going away from that. We just want you to be aware of a challenge and a complication. We're going to try something different. We would recommend moving forward with the cooperative for next year. But we'll see how things go this year with that.
So if we do that situation and they come into us at the beginning and they don't have enough kids to play volleyball, can they join into our group then? Like the football is?
So let me make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. Let's say they only have 4 girls out. They don't have enough. Can they just play with us?
Yes.
I don't know what the league laws
I think we
are.
would have to go to the league because they have their own volleyball schedule.
Okay.
And that would mean that there would be 1 fewer point for the other team. So like when Victoria comes to play us, they would have 1 less point for their A team. So I don't know, we'd have to kind of see. He was pretty confident that they would have enough volleyball players this year. But yeah, you never know. They can play with 5. It's not ideal, but they can do that. So.
So we would sorry.
I mean, we do have the transportation is already set up for that. You know, I mean, whether they're bringing just football players or volleyball players too, that's already there on their part. But we do have 20 girls out this year, so putting 6 more girls in that Bushton gym it's going to be kind of tight. So we would have, yeah. So to answer your question, I think we could probably make that work with a few little tweaks here and there. They might have to go play some additional games on like Monday or Tuesday nights, but we would kind of need to know pretty quick if that was going to be the situation. But their AD was pretty confident when we talked that they would have enough to play volleyball.
Okay.
Any other questions? I would entertain a motion to continue with the football cooperative.
Also move.
Motion by Josh,
Second.
second by Chad. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 14, our KASB workers' comp renewal.
Okay, so our workman's comp renewal for 26-27 is attached. The premiums decreased by about $3,500. This is due to having less employees. We also participate in the loyalty credit program, which gives the district a little bit of additional savings. And you can see in 22-23, it was about $30,000. 23-24 jumped up to 38. 24-25, it dropped down to 14. 25-26, it jumped up to 16.9. This new renewal rate's at $13,328. So we do have a few less employees moving into next year. So we would recommend moving forward with that renewal for workman's comp.
Also move, Mr. President.
Motion by Josh,
I'll second.
second by Tom. Any further questions, comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, item number 15, the Wilson Elementary School account transfers.
Okay, so we need to move forward with trying to zero accounts out at Wilson Elementary to get those accounts closed moving into the next financial year. So the auditor said that the accounts on the balance sheets from the Wilson Elementary School need to be moved to a comparable account. Okay, wherever it's at in the district, the account needs to be in existence and comparable in the district. So the Dragon account that's in Wilson has $817.37 left, okay? A comparable account to that would be like the Central Plains Elementary School activities account would be a comparable account. The library account at Wilson has $570.73. A district comparable account would be the library account at Central Plains Junior and Senior High. The elementary school don't have a separate library account, okay? So those two are kind of one piece of the pie, okay, because they are active activity accounts, okay? So that's one side of it, but we also, this one's just a little bit different playing field because it's not in an activities account. This next one's in a grants account, okay, that's at the district office. So we have $2,160 in funds that were raised for the Wilson Daycare Playground. We would like to recommend these funds be redistributed to the Wilson Daycare Group for future use with the community daycare. So we can do that with that one because that's in a grant account at the district office. The other two accounts, it just really hamstrings us because the auditor told us it has to go to a comparable account. So those would be comparable accounts that we have in the district. So I wanted to kind of open that up. Once those accounts are zeroed out, then we can move forward with closing those accounts because our next financial year starts over July 1. So wanted to open that up to discussion for you guys as far as what that looks like moving forward on the Dragon account, the library account, and then also the Wilson Daycare fundraising account. So
I'd like to make a comment on that if I could. I think those three accounts, everything looks fine except the Dragons account. I'd like to make the pitch that money that funded that Dragons account came from extracurricular activities, fundraising, and that sort of thing. It's not district money or taxpayer money that went into that. It was money that was raised as fundraisers. And I'd like to see that money return to the Wilson community, not go back to the district. There just really doesn't seem to be any logical reason for that money to leave the Wilson area. I understand that it was generated when the school was operating, but now the school isn't. I really feel like the right thing to do would be to return that money to maybe the Wilson Boosters Club or some local organization in the Wilson area. So that's my thought anyway.
when we asked the auditor said if it's a building account on their account list, it has to go to a comparable account. So Diane talked to the auditor too. Was that your understanding as well, Diane?
Yeah, and technically most of these accounts are district funds, even though they're assigned to these buildings, those are district funds.
I don't quite understand the logic of that. If that money was raised independent of the school district, just because the school handled those funds doesn't necessarily mean that money returns to the district. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm sorry, I don't quite follow the logic of that.
If you're sure that it was raised not district money, if you're sure that the money was raised for a certain purpose or something.
Yeah,
But we've got activity accounts at both buildings, And if something would happen to those, that money is belong to the district.
You're saying the district funds activity accounts in
But
Wilson?
she's saying the district owns the accounts, is what she's
I
saying.
understand that.
Well, we can check with the auditor. I mean, that'd be the
Yeah,
person, but I don't want to have a violation, but we can certainly check with the auditor.
What kind of deposits do you have those funds, like, you know, but when they come in, you know what they go for?
Yeah, it could have been a fundraiser. I mean, it could have been, you know, every once in a while when you do pictures, if you do it with Live Touch, sometimes they'll send the buildings back a little kickback, and that's kind of where some of that money will go back into as well. You know, it could be a whole range of things, really, if somebody donates something to the activity account. So it could be fundraiser money. You know, the other thing to think about that though too, and I'm not the ins and outs and the answer to all this, but if I do a fundraiser and I'm ordering things for a fundraiser through the school, you know, I'm not charged taxes on some of that stuff, right? Okay, because I'm using the school and the district's account to do that. So it just is really gray on what that would look like. The other thing that we could do is we can ask the auditor specifically if that's something that we can do. We've already asked her and she said it has to be a comparable account, but I don't mind asking her again on these two. And then we can put it back on the end of the year board meeting in a couple of weeks. The one thing I would like approval on is to give the Wilson Daycare the other funds back. So we can get a little clearer picture on that and just ask the auditor straight up if we did this, would we get an auditing violation to it?
Something else maybe to add on to that is if we did transfer it to a like account from the district, then make a contribution of those funds back to the community.
Possibly. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, Kayla.
I think the risk here is that people in the Wilson community are going to feel like they're getting royally screwed because they raise that money to be used by the students of the school when the school is operating. Now that the school's been closed, that's hard enough for them to tolerate, but this is just insult to injury on top of all of that. I think we really need to pursue a way to return that money to the community somehow. And I don't know the mechanism of that, but if we're just talking about getting a ding on the audit, come on, that's not gonna screw the whole.
I'm not gonna put you guys in a position where the auditor is gonna come in and tell you guys as a board that you did something wrong on the audit if I know about it. So I just want to be very clear on that. I'm gonna be really.
Misappropriation of some of those.
Right, I'm gonna be really clear. If the auditor.
It's messy or?
Well, it's not.
Or is it a slap on the hand or
Well,
is
I
it
don't
substantial or not?
want to be labeled with
$800.
Yeah.
So on one side of it, if the auditor tells us that yes, we could do this,
Okay.
then I think we can have that conversation. If the auditor says, no, you cannot do it, then the next question needs to be, if we encumber those funds into an account, can we turn around and make a donation back to the Wilson Booster Club and see if that works? So I think there's some ways to do it, but just being really, really clear, we're not going to get an audit violation on $817.
Fair enough.
So.
Yeah. Let's amend that motion to allow that to happen, to pursue alternative ways to get that money returned
We
to
haven't
Wilson.
made a motion.
Somebody would have to.
I'll make that motion to amend the,
You have to make a motion first before it can be amended.
okay.
So I would recommend that you make the motion to approve returning the $2,160 to the Wilson Daycare account. And let's get that one over with and done.
Okay.
And then we can put the other two on the end of the year board meeting in a couple weeks, and we can get a very clear picture on that. So that's what I would recommend to you guys.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Kayla,
Second.
second by Chad. Do you have any other questions? Do you understand?
Let me make sure I understand this. So we're gonna take the playground money as well and defer that, or just the Wilson Street one?
The only motion right now that's on the table is to be able to write a check for $2,160 to the Wilson Daycare.
Okay.
So they can use that money for what they need.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the motion right now.
And the remaining two are going to be deferred.
Yes.
They'll be tabled.
They'll be tabled till the end of the year board.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's in a couple weeks, so.
Gotcha. I'm with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So there is a motion by Kayla and a second by Chad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Okay, and then I'm gonna make a note next board meeting to get a clear picture from the auditor on those two funds, on the Dragon account and the library account. And I'll get that information back to you guys at the end of your board meeting.
And I just might add that, I don't know if you guys got this spreadsheet, that $1.56, that's out of there. That was for sales tax. I talked to Shelley Sylvester, she's got that taken care of, so that's a zero. So then all the money would be zero.
Item number 16, the fire alarm system at the modular.
Okay, so this kind of hooks into what we talked about with the fire alarm blueprint, okay? So to be able to pass the fire marshal code, okay, the fire marshal has to get what we call a code footprint from us, okay? And they have to get a fire marshal blueprint from the company that's gonna do the fire alarm system, okay? Once they get those two items, then the fire marshal gives you the go-ahead to move forward. Okay, and then they file halfway through, they file a time where they can come in and do a walkthrough to make sure everything's good. Okay, so both of these things go hand in hand. Okay, so we have the blueprint. Okay, the fire alarm system company that we use is called Fire Alarm Specialty. This, and again, this was already budgeted in whenever we talked about budget, but I just want to make sure you guys, at first it didn't make a lot of sense to me until I connected the dots. So I want to make sure I'm not getting you guys kind of misunderstanding the situation, okay? So this is specifically for the equipment and the installation of the fire alarm system at the new modular at Central Plains Elementary School. Normally, I like to always get a couple of quotes, but this is the company that does the system at the elementary school now, okay? So this system is gonna hook into that system, okay? So if we went to get a couple more quotes, we would have to not only get quotes for the modular unit, but we'd have to get quotes for the whole building to change the system because one hooks into another, okay? So Fire Alarm Specialist is the company that we use for all the fire alarm equipment and servicing in the existing building. This addition would be hooked into that system, and if we went to another company, we would have the expenses for that as well. Fire Alarm Specialist, since they run the existing system, has submitted a design for the addition to the fire marshal. This has been accepted, and if we went with another company, they would have to submit that design and then another design prior into the fire marshal, and we would have to kind of go that route. So this quote that has been budgeted in is for $19,969. This was already budgeted in. This has them come in when it's ready. They install all the systems, all the wiring, and they hook it into the unit. So then the fire marshal can come out, do his walkthrough, and give us the okay to occupy that building. So that quote is uploaded on there for you guys as well. So we're recommending moving forward with that quote for Fire Alarm Specialist in the amount of $19,969 to be able to move forward with the equipment and the installation for the fire alarm system in the modular at Central Plains Elementary School.
Is there a compelling reason why they need to be connected?
Yeah, because they can't be two separate units because the main hub, the main source is in the office. The panel is in the office at Central Plains Elementary School. Okay, the existing building. Sorry, I know that.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
You're saying connecting it to the existing school building from the module.
Yes.
All right.
Because if we don't do that, we have to install a whole new panel and everything else in the modular unit. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Now I get it.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I would entertain to approve the quote as presented.
Also move.
Motion by Josh. Second by Dalton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 17, land transfer discussion.
Okay, if you guys will give me a couple seconds, I'm gonna get something set up and I'm gonna get it on the overhead. So if you wanna kind of move your chairs around so you can see, give me a couple seconds and I'll try to get this up and rolling. Yeah, if we can turn those lights off, that would be great.
You're kind of boxed in.
Allison, I'm gonna try my best to get you in on this, so just give me a quick second, okay?
Nobody's sitting in that chair, Tim.
Is it okay if I stand?
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Oh, I just turned it off. That was wrong. Give that second thing to load.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, so in the past, we've talked a little bit about potential land transfer and what it could potentially look like moving forward. Had many community members from the south part of the district say, I want this land to stay in the district. Some people from the north say, I want this land to go north if we do a land transfer. So where that line's drawn or what it looks like is going to be pretty contested in what it looks like. Okay, so I wanted to go over some numbers on potentially what this would look like and then break down a few other numbers for you as well. Okay, so on here is our district map. Okay, this right here, this block right here is Lincoln County. Okay, that is in our district. Okay, that estimated valuation of that land is worth just a little, and again, these are all estimates. This is me pulling numbers from the county. Okay, so I just want to be very, very clear. These are not down to the dollar, down to the cents. These are estimates. Okay, so estimated value of Lincoln County that's in our district right here, okay, comes in about a little under $650,000. Okay, now when we talk about Ellsworth County, I'm going to break this down into townships for you guys. Okay, so the Columbia Township, you see a pencil line drawn right here. Part of the Columbia Township is in our district. Okay, that valuation of that land right here where my cursor's at is $266,000 estimated. Okay, this other block is called the Wilson Township. Okay, when we talk about the Wilson Township, that is $6,719,000. This number right here estimated. Okay, and then you have the city of Wilson located in that township. That comes in at $4.6 million. Okay, this township right here, I want to talk about this because this is Noble Township. Okay, this is in Ellsworth County. Potentially, if we drew the line and we move forward with a land transfer across this line to split the two townships up on the county lines, okay, over to Four Corner Roads, it's going to maintain this Wilson Township and it's going to maintain this Noble Township. Now, I know the question is going to be, yep, we have people down in here that want to go north and we have people down in here that want to go south. So I don't have answers for that quite yet. I'm just giving you in general terms right now. Okay, so I want to break this down. This Noble Township is not up there because if the line was drawn right here, Noble Township would stay in USD 112. And again, this, I'm just giving you guys information. This is just estimates. Okay, so if we turn our attention to Russell County, all right, oh, sorry, I'm going to back up. So that total amount estimate is a little bit over $11,616. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, right here, this area right here. Okay, Noble Township is not included in that number because if that's where the line's drawn, that would stay in the district. Okay, so moving to Russell County valuation. All right, this one's harder. Okay, because this whole area is considered Plymouth Township. Okay, all of Plymouth Township is estimated to be worth $9,616,000. If the line was drawn here, please remember that this whole amount would not be transferring. We have people that have a whole bunch of land in here that have talked and visited with me that they want their land to stay in our district, and I know there's some little areas in here that want that land to go north. So again, that would be something that would be discussed moving forward. Okay, Doran City, okay, right in here. It's kind of hard to see on there. Okay, estimated value is $1,445,000. Okay, so in this, it's going to be hard to break this apart. I'm giving you Mr. Murphy logic here. Okay, I would guesstimate that a lot of this evaluation is probably located here and maybe on the interstate area. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Okay, so if you figure out that 70% of this number would go north, okay, that would be about $6,731,000. And then you would add the city of Dorrance, which you would get a little over $8 million. And again, these are all just estimates, guys. That's all it is estimates. I can't say it enough. Estimate, estimate, estimate. That's all these numbers are. If we add this number to this number to this number, we get $20 million. I'm going to use Sylvan because Mr. Starkey gave me the authority to use Sylvan as an example, so I'm going to use Sylvan's. Right now, 1 mil in our district is worth $123,000 because it's a percentage of our total valuation. Our total valuation in our district is $123 million. Okay? Right now, before any land transfer talks or anything. Okay? Estimated valuation for Sylvan is $40 million. Okay? So 1 mil for us, when we talk about mills, is $123,000. 1 mil for Sylvan would be $40,000. Okay? And again, I'm going to use Sylvan as an example here. Okay? If this was sent to Sylvan in a land transfer, okay, that means our valuation would probably drop to $103 million, and theirs would probably go up to about $60 million. Again, all estimates. So that means a mill for us would be worth about $103,000, and a mill for Sylvan would be worth $60,000. Again, just using these numbers to explain kind of the scenario to you guys. Okay? Questions? Anything on here that?
And again, that estimation with Sylvan and everything is the land transfer at your orange line.
So this is my estimates, drawing it right here at this orange line. Okay? Now again, if that line's moved one way or another, one's going to gain valuation, one's going to lose valuation. Kind of what that looks like. Okay, so with this, early estimation numbers look like the majority of the students are going to go to Sylvan. Okay, talking to Mr. Starkey, it looked like they were going to have over 30 new enrollees. Okay, so we have 50 kids at Wilson. We're expecting 8 to 10 of them. 30 of them are going to Sylvan. So I wanted to visit about that just real quick. Okay, why would it be beneficial to go to Sylvan? All our indications right now show that the majority of those Wilson Elementary School kids are going to Sylvan. And again, they're just estimations right now. Things can change between now and August. Okay, somebody moves in, somebody moves out. But early indications show that the majority of them. What would be included in the land transfer? The building at Wilson could be included in the land transfer. Okay, timeline for land transfers, whatever both districts agree on or whatever that looks like. If we would have it on the State Board of Education by midway through the fall semester of the 26-27 school year, we could get everything agreed upon and paperwork completed. It'd be beneficial to get it in earlier rather than later. If we were to get this accomplished and it was done, it would actually take place July 1 of 2027, which would be next July. Okay. So again, just some questions that I've popped into my head that if I was a board member, what are some questions I would be asking? Okay. Now, more specifically on the land transfer side of it, what would have to be done? Okay. Part of the land transfer is the assessed valuation of the territory to be transferred, including rural and urban real estate and property. We have to have a licensed abstractor's legal description of the land to be transferred, a licensed abstractor's certified legal description of the official boundaries of each of the district, which reflects the proposed transfer, a complete comparison of district form, and a map of the proposed transfer area depicting its location in relation to the school districts. In front of you, there is a packet that looks like this. These are the land transfer guidelines that I wanted you guys to have a copy of so you could flip through them and look, okay, and kind of look at what that looks like. Now, talking to Mr. Starkey just a little bit, if this is the direction we decide we want to go, they would be opening to splitting the cost of hiring the licensed abstractor to start working on mapping the boundaries for the legal land description. That's going to take some time, guys. That's not going to be something like 2 weeks and then it's done. That's going to take a while. What I do not have for you is I've reached out to Scott Gordon and Dr. Watson. They're supposed to be getting us information on some other districts and the abstractors that they've used. I do not have a cost for that right now. Okay? It could be $10,000, it could be 20, it could be 30. I have no clue, okay, what that could be. Okay? The other item that you need to know is we did get an email this week from some citizens in Wilson that are saying that they're going to push the dissolve the district thing again. Okay? So if that gets pushed, all of this is done and on hold until down the line, hopefully, maybe. I don't know if another district would want that population if they're going to dissolve the district in their district. I don't want to speak for them, but I don't know that. Okay. So what I'm saying with that is we could spend $20,000 on this, getting this done. And then we could go back and this all could be put on hold because of push and dissolve the district. Okay. So I'm just giving you all the information, laying it out there for discussion for you guys to have. My recommendation moving forward would be if I knew the cost and I knew that the dissolve the district thing was not going to happen, I think this would be a great place to start. Because again, the majority of the kids are going that way as of right now. That's what we're being told. Are we trying to push Wilson and Dorrance away to somebody else? That's not what we're trying to do. That's what we said that we would work towards if that's what they wanted. Okay. So I just wanted to open this up for discussion from you guys on where you're at. Sylvan's having the same conversation tonight, actually the same exact slides that we're having right now. So we'll kind of have some guidelines from them. I don't know if it's something where this is a lot. So if you guys want some time to think about this and us put it on the end of the year board meeting or in July, I just wish I had some numbers to deliver to you guys to give you exactly what it was going to cost. Because to me, there's a big difference between a few $1,000s and $30,000.
I think we need to keep moving forward, regardless of any efforts to dissolve the district. I think we need to talk to any and all districts that are interested and keep that conversation moving forward. And we won't be spending any money until we actually do the survey work. So we could be ready to make a move while all this other stuff is going on. And I just want to keep our foot on the gas on this. There's no cost to us other than a lot of time, but
there will be as soon as we do this, though.
I understand that, but we still need to establish where those boundaries are going to be. We need to.
And that's what all this would do. The abstractor would help out with that.
Okay, so if we don't, the boundary, the orange boundary line is relatively arbitrary at this point, right?
Exactly.
So how do we establish consensus in that district?
Well, I'm going to answer part of your question.
Okay.
We're not going to have consensus.
Well,
there's always going to be somebody that's going to fill. Now, with that being said,
yeah,
they can always petition the state board for their property to be moved if they're on the line.
sure.
Right? So that's always an option. But when we do this, the abstractor is going to help with the line, seeing if that's the right way to put it, if there's other people that want theirs to go a certain direction. Like, they're going to help with all those things. Where we're at right now is I just need some guidance from you guys on what you would like to see from me as far as gathering cost to give to you guys on this. Do we want to move forward with telling Sylvan that we're going to split the cost on this? Now, the kicker on that is if we tell Sylvan we're going to split the cost on this, then, I mean, that's the district we're going to work with, right?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Okay, so hypothetically, we ask you to proceed with the finding the whatever he is and the abstractor. What does it look like after that? Are we going to have a committee go together to hash all these fine details out? Do we have is it going to be board members only? Are we going to include some community members? What do you envision that looking like?
That's going to be completely up to you guys. I would hope the abstractor would be able to give us some guidance on that, like on what they've worked with before, and hey, this has worked really well with a couple of community members and board members, or what that is. Really, I mean, to be really frank and honest with you, it comes down to both boards is what it's going to come down to, ultimately. Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, what I would like to see is us proceed with looking into hiring a abstractor.
Okay.
If Sylvan is in agreement. And then I would like to see a committee come together with 1-2 board members on each side, plus a couple community members. You know, however if they're interested, they can, contact the district office, put their names. I mean, I wouldn't go very big, I would leave it to at least under, maybe 5 total. I mean, it needs to be small enough where you can actually get something done. But I wouldn't leave the communities out, and I would try to be really transparent. If we have to have public meetings, and you have public meetings, but they can be treated as such. But I think the key to this is going to be transparency, and not only our community, but Sylvan's community too. I mean, I'm sure they have things that they want to see.
And I think this, from what I've gathered, I feel like this is the first step, because we're talking about it openly in the board meeting and with both boards. And I think community meetings would be great, but I feel like if we want to move things along and keep our foot on the gas and get this done, which I feel like we've already heard this enough times over the years that this is what's wanted, that community meetings would probably be the most beneficial, because if you have a committee, then everybody's going to want on that committee. So people are going to be upset if they're not on that committee, and they're going to feel left out. So I feel like the best way to involve the community or let them have questions would be to have a community meeting.
Agreed.
As
I
opposed to-
believe that too, but I believe that you can have a steering committee that to hold your community meetings. Because, I mean, we could have community meetings all we want, but unless you have those individuals that are actually going to take the notes, come back to you and tell you this is what we got gathered from the meetings, it's going to be pointless. So that's where that committee comes in.
I don't feel like there's going to be that many details that actually need to be hashed out, other than the people on those property boundaries. Because with open borders, it's also not going to people are still going to be free to take their kids to whatever school they want to.
I think to me, I think there's a little bit more to it than just boundaries, though. I mean, you got the building to think of, what's going to happen with that. You have, I don't know. I think there's just a lot more to it, and there's going to be a lot more questions come up to it that are just outside of just the boundary question. And we won't know that until we have the community meetings. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but.
Kayla, can I ask you something?
Absolutely.
Being a new board member, when the high school closed, there were community meetings, and what did you feel like there was some consensus or any kind of unified direction forward from that, or are people just there to bitch and moan and that's that?
I mean, we did, but we also had a committee or a steering group that kind of oversaw those.
Yeah.
So they were the ones that kind of everybody went to with the questions, with the comments, they kind of gathered them. But on the other side of that, you do have a lot that will go just to voice their opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think it helps to have a few individuals that are kind of, I don't want to say in charge, but, are there to, take the notes, come back to the board or whoever, because I think if you just have everybody meet, it's unorganized and you don't get anything accomplished. It becomes just a great session, in my experience.
I feel like Mr. Keith being here tonight, I feel like he's a great point person too, and has already been communicating quite a bit with Mr. Murphy through this process. So even though there's not an actual committee, I do feel like there is that communication.
And even if it's not a board, appointed committee, I definitely think that there needs to be someone, or whether it's the mayor or whoever, to organize it going forward and keeping the community up to date and involved. I mean, with it coming down to the board's decision, I mean, I would hope that at least one of us were involved in it too. That way, you're getting firsthand knowledge, not just as I want to also speak to the disorganization. I also received an email. It wasn't necessarily saying that we're moving forward with the disorganization, but it was that they wanted a resolution, and if they didn't get a resolution, it was kind of that was the next step. I expressed my view to them, and I will express it here, that I am not in favor of a disorganization vote moving forward. I'd like to see this transfer play out and see where we go with it. I have told them that, and I'll go on the record saying it. So.
What do they want a resolution for?
Just a peaceful resolution is all they said. They didn't say, my assumption is, the transfer. But some of the other items they had on there, I believe, are kind of unrealistic goals. Like, giving the building to the community. Well, we know the building has to be involved in the transfer, so that really can't be done. Things like that. But like I told them, at this point, I am not in favor of the disorganization vote. I would like to see us work towards a transfer and have that move forward.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on that. I think I feel a little uncomfortable not getting some sort of, at least an initial answer from Russell and Ellsworth school districts to see if there's any serious interest there or not before we just plow forward. I mean, I really think if was some initial interest, let's nail that down and see if there's something substantial there or not.
Why?
And then it would make sense to go with whoever's left.
Well, I can answer that question.
Okay.
There is interest from both of those other schools still.
Okay.
The kicker on the whole thing is, I'm just going to put it in layman's terms, nobody's going to turn down $20 million of valuation and not get anything in return. Anybody, I mean, if another district came to us like, hey, this is what it looks like, this is what will happen, you're going to gain $20 million of valuation, any of them are going to move for that. The kicker for me is the majority of the kids, it looks like that's where they're going.
I totally agree.
So, and I had that conversation with the superintendent Russell the other day. Just the majority of the kids are looking to go to Sylvan. So my recommendation is going to be that's my recommendation. That
Sure.
does not mean that's the way you guys have to go. That's probably where this needs to start. And the conversations with Mr. Starkey is they want the majority of what is going to be there because they need it, and that's where the kids are going.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, they are interested still. I know they are interested. But the more boards you get involved, the harder it's going to be. From our findings with the survey earlier, it sounded like most of them were going there, and that's where the signs point. So, so to answer your question, I know that there is interest there.
Was Russell and Ellsworth on that survey we did?
They were.
They were on there.
Yep. And there were a few here and there, but it just comes down to, how many boards do we want to deal with, and where does the majority of the population want it to go? And we're never going to get a clear consensus. It's not going to be 100%.
No.
So.
Wasn't it 70-some% for Sylvan?
Yeah, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but it was close to that.
But it was like 70, 30, 20 or something like that.
So I guess what I'm seeking is just, do we have consensus of the board for me to move forward working with them to try to get a cost on what it's going to cost to hire an abstractor? And then I can get that information to you guys at the next board meeting. And then if you want to make a motion to move forward with working with them on having the abstractor, we could do it at this time. I just need to know what direction you guys would like me to go with this.
So I guess a couple of thoughts.
Okay.
So if we just tried to ask every student where they're going, obviously when we transfer land, it can't look like Swiss cheese. We can't just pull out little pockets here and there and you can go with your kid. But another thing is we know right now already that Sylvan Lucas is having the same conversation that we are tonight. From conversations, it sounds like most likely they will approve moving forward, also to split the cost. If we want to divide up the land to more districts and get more districts involved, that'll slow the process down. And Sylvan Lucas is interested in the majority, as much land as they can get. So I think it would be beneficial to continue moving the process along to agree to move to work with Sylvan Lucas at this time.
I certainly wasn't suggesting that we divide that little block of land into 3 school districts. Whoever gets it is gonna get it all. So that's as far as I'm concerned, that's the way I would.
So I guess at this time, the motion that we're looking for is whether or not we would approve to split the cost to move forward with the abstracts and surveys to kind of keep the process rolling.
You could probably just maybe have a consensus for Mr. Murphy to check what the cost is, unless you're going to make a motion.
But it's completely up to you guys. One, you're making a motion without knowing the cost. That's concerning. You know, if you wanted to have a consensus of, let's find out the cost, but move forward working with them in the meantime to know what that cost is. Sylvan has an end of the year board meeting coming up in a couple weeks, and I do too, and we do too. So at that time, I'm hopeful that we can have a clear number, but if we have a consensus to move forward working with them, then we can do that too and come up with those numbers. And it just makes me nervous. I don't know what we're talking about, guys. I can't even give you a ballpark number.
Even if it ain't a clear number, it's just a ballpark.
Okay.
Yes,
I agree.
something's better than nothing.
Well, and I see the downfall of not working with Sylvan and trying to get Russ or Ellsworth involved. We might have to come up with 100% the cost on it. At least Sylvan's willing to work with us on that part. I say we move ahead with it.
So if I have everybody's in agreement, what I will visit with Jeff about is we're going to move forward with finding the number out and then making a motion to move forward with splitting the cost at the next board meeting. Is everybody good with that?
Yep.
Allison, can you still hear me? Okay.
Okay, Mr. President, I move that the board go into the executive session pursuant to the Kansas Open Meeting Act to discuss non-elected personnel for the topic of resignations, certified staff and classified staff, to protect the privacy of individuals, to be discussed with Mr. Murphy present and returned in open session in this room at, still 10 minutes,
7:17.
7:17.
Motion by Josh,
Second.
second by Chad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Allison, we're moving, okay?
Not me.
We're back in open session.
Yeah, I move to approve the resignation of Amy Freeman as the school ghost officer at Central Plains High School Middle School.
I'll second.
Motion by Kayla, second by Josh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
I move to approve the resignation of Riley Roberts as para at Central Plains Elementary.
I'll second.
Motion by Kayla, second by Josh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
I move to approve Patrick Sweet as a music teacher and play director for USD 112 for the 26-27 school year.
Second.
Motion by Kayla, second by Josh. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
I move to approve Jordan Mooney as the technology coordinator at Central Plains Junior Senior High School for the 26-27 school year.
Second.
Motion by Kayla, second by Josh. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
I move to approve Tina Vonyik as part-time summer technology assistant.
Second.
Motion by Kayla, second by Josh. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
I move to approve the classified list for the 26-27 school year as presented.
Second.
Motion by Kayla, second by Josh. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Mr. President, I move that the board go into an executive session to discuss teacher negotiations for the purpose of noticing items for negotiations under the exception for employee negotiations under KOMA, and that we return to open session in this room at 7:25.
Sure. Okay, motion by Josh. Second by Dalton. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Let's get it go to the bathroom.
Hey, the mic is still hot. Session now. And item number 20, superintendent's report.
So I have a few things I want to share with you guys. With the building closure at Wilson, the rec still uses the facility at Wilson. We've given them the approval before to use the facility. I just wanted to let you guys know that. I would like to move forward with continuing to let them use the facility that we've already agreed upon. And then Jeff and myself will just work out kind of the kinks in between to make sure that if he needs something, we have it there moving forward. So we've already agreed to do this in the past. I just want to continue being able to let them use some of the facilities that we've already agreed upon before. So do you guys have any concerns about that? Great. Okay. Claflin Daycare, I'm just going to update you. They're still working on the sewer side of things. They don't have any clear-cut answers to the sewer. The last conversation I had for them last week, they know they're going to have to put in a pump and a chopper. I do not want it to come in the back of the school. I want it to go down the alley and hook into the front, even if there's some additional costs. We go hooking the sewer into the back of the school and everything comes to the school. It could be really bad. So we're still working on that. We did have a food meeting last week to try to get food ironed out, but really the big kicker is on the sewer side of it. But they have had quite a few people already enroll their kids. And one thing that's coming down the pipe that I really need you guys to think about is we do offer a discount at the Holyrood one. And we did at the Wilson one as well for kids that are teachers' kids or faculty and staff kids. And I have teachers and faculty and staff asking if we're going to offer the same discount at this one, even though we're not running it. So
You know the prices of this one?
it's going to be the same as what ours, we matched our new prices going into next year to what theirs are, so it's comparable. But the kicker is, if they're getting half off a month, we're going to have to pay for that half off. So if I have a bill that's $425 and we're going to give them the same luxury as what we have in Holyrood and what we did at Wilson, you're looking at us making up the differential in that.
Yeah, but can we do that if it's not in the negotiated agreement?
Doesn't
that kind of come down to how we couldn't pay, any kind of
Right.
bonus or whatever?
But we're doing it now though, in Holyrood. And in Wilson.
of doing it on the front end by giving them a reduced
Correct.
rate.
Correct.
So you're not actually paying that teacher anything, and we won't be able to, correct me if I'm wrong, we're not taking in the funds
Nope.
from this daycare, so we can't do that. It would have to be
Well,
a reimbursement.
we wouldn't technically be paying the teachers, we would be paying them the difference in the two, if that makes sense.
ABCC?
Mm-hmm.
I prefer that we give a discount to staff. I think that's a good idea.
So we don't need to make any decisions now. I'm going to bring you some more information on that at the next board meeting, but I do have staff that's asking about that. So we'll need to kind of have a plan in place of what that looks like, because if there's 40 kids, because this daycare can hold quite a few, and 10 of them are teachers' kids moving forward, and we're paying $250 a month per kid, that's over $2,000 a month, and you multiply that by 12, now we're at $30,000 pretty dang quick. So I just want you guys to be thinking about that. Okay, and again, we don't take in any of those funds at all. That runs through ABCC, whereas in Holyrood and Wilson, we ran the daycare ourselves, if that makes sense. So just something for you guys to think about. I'll bring some more harder numbers for you guys at the next meeting to give you guys a little clearer picture of that. So,
is there a 1099 implication for them as income when it's done that way, since it's not run by the district?
I don't know
Considered additional income?
I don't know the answer to that with the daycare side of it, because we haven't had to do that because we run
Right.
the daycare. Yeah.
That would be worth probably looking into to have that information at the same time too.
That's a good question.
And that kind of goes back to what you were saying. If it's a 1099 with additional income, then yeah, it would probably need to be in there. Yeah. I'll look into that. Okay. We talked a little bit about health insurance, and you guys are kind of up to date on that. Talked a little bit about administrative review, and kind of where we're at on that as well moving forward. Nobody likes to talk about school closures, but I think, we did what we were supposed to do as far as timelines and things like that with the state. So don't really want to go into that because it's still not a fun subject no matter how you spin it. But modular update, they got the concrete done, buildings are there. They're looking somewhere between the 15th and the 22nd to bring in the crane to start putting units in place. A little bit behind schedule, but not way behind schedule at this point. So we're looking to get those set, get clearance to get in there, get fire panels, get electrical run, get gas ran, and then start trying to build those classrooms up so we're ready for kids and teachers in August. So kind of where we're at on that. They're setting transformer. Mark was over there today helping get transformer stuff set for the building. So I know they're working that direction as well. And just got a lot of things going on, pieces. Football lights are down. We're working towards July 1, looks like the start date on getting those set up. So got a lot of moving parts right now and a lot of people that are helping out really big in different situations. So really thankful for all those people that are helping with those projects. So wouldn't be able to do it without them. So I did want to talk a little bit about on rec usage as well. And if it's something you guys want to discuss, you can bring it up in the open agenda items. One thing that the rec is in need of is some metal tables to use for baseball and softball games. And we do have a couple of them in the cafeteria at Wilson. I don't know if they're needed in other parts of the district right now, so I can't answer that question, but I know they're in need of those tables as well. So if it's something where in an open agenda item, you guys want to make a motion to look at if we need them in the district, and if we don't need them in the district, to let the rec be able to use those in Wilson, we can do that at that time too. So.
I think if we don't need them.
And I can get a clear picture on that and ask around tomorrow a little bit if we're needing them in one of the other cafeterias. So, but an open agenda item, you guys can discuss that. So.
Okay, item number 21, board member reports. Anybody have any information or anything to report on? Okay, item number 22, open agenda items. So, bringing up those tables, yeah. I mean, I would, yeah, if there's not a need for them in the district, I think definitely let them have it, donate it to them.
Is there only 2 or 4 or 6 or?
There was 2, so Mr. Keith did show me a picture, and if anybody's interested in seeing the picture, he said he can show you now, or he can email it to you or whatever, but it was just 2 tables. They were the only ones on casters, so they're rolling, movable.
So originally, we thought that we had some in the old concessions building there in Wilson. And when we went and looked for those, Jan helped him out. They weren't in there. So Jan was like, the only metal ones we have are in the cafeteria. And they went and looked, and Jeff was like, well, I don't want to take these unless I talk to Bobby and the board first. So that's kind of where we're at with them. So what I'll do tomorrow is I can check with the 2 buildings and see if they're needed and show them pictures. And if not, then I'll just communicate with Jeff and we'll get them where they need them to be able to use them this summer if they need them. So if you guys are okay with that.
I'm fine with, like, if they need them pretty quickly, they can just go ahead and use them, and if we needed them back, we could always
Communicate with them.
Yeah, let you use them over the summer for years, and if we need them back, then communicate.
Okay.
But do you want a motion, Diane?
I don't think.
If we're just gonna borrow them for now and then see what it looks like, I don't think we necessarily need a motion for that. Because we can go ahead and let them borrow them, and then if we need them back, then we can have that conversation down the line.
Yeah.
So.
There's one with like the glass shield on it. Do you care if we take that glass shield off? I can show you real quick.
Oh, that's the sneeze guard.
That's the sneeze guard for the COVID.
What they call it, a sneeze guard?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was one of the COVID implementations.
Yeah, so that would be, yeah, you're
I don't
right.
worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other open agenda items? Okay, items for next month's agenda.
Okay, so we have the end of the year board meeting on June 24th at 7:30 at the district office. We'll hopefully have insurance items nailed out and with a negotiated agreement, health insurance, property insurance, and we'll do end of the year transfers at that time. Also on that board meeting, we'll add the 2 accounts at Wilson and try to get some clear justifications on what we can do to try to make that right, I guess is the best way to put it. And then July 13th, we have our board meeting here. That'll be our first board meeting of the new financial year. We'll do our reorganization to start that personnel, and then we'll have a big group of KASB board policy updates for our first read at that time. So.
Any questions? Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
Motion by Josh, second by Chad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Keith.
You.